I'm Eelyn Lee. I'm an artist filmmaker. I've got a background in fine art. My practice sort of over the years has taken me into visual theatre, documentary filmmaking and into installation art. I've done a lot of projects where I've worked in collaboration with young people. When conceiving of a project like this, I'll think about designing a series of workshops that will create an environment conducive for generating ideas. So those environments, they need to be ones where young people are relaxed and they have the freedom to create, and they feel safe enough just to throw out ideas that, are not right or wrong and might seem a bit crazy or quirky, but let's just put them all out there. And then the sort of the best and the most interesting of those ideas, they sort of then go into an image bank, into a scrapbook of ideas, if you like. And through using different art forms like photography and drama, we're doing that in order to draw out ideas and contributions from young people. I always like to set the bar very high. I will bring in people with special expertise like camera operators, photographers, set designers, and we will all be working together as equals together with the young people. So we take them on the journey that we're very lucky enough to experience regularly through our work. So the relationships I build with those young people become professional relationships. So they become like members of the crew on a film set. And I think that's often, particularly for that age group, is the first time they've experienced having a relationship with adults in that type of a way. When I first was commissioned by the National Portrait Gallery, I was given some time to research and engage with the collection myself and sort of explore some of the sitters that had connections with Ealing, the borough. I identified that there were possibly 3 themes that were emerging from the sitters, and they were the themes of vision, creativity and endeavour. We explored what those sitters had achieved and tried to draw out their strong characteristics. The students actually came back to the gallery to meet those sitters, see the actual portraits, the artwork for the very first time. And most of the artwork was actually not on display. So we were lucky enough for the curators to actually bring the artwork out, and we could see it like close up in sort of the back rooms of the gallery, which was a real special treat. And I think the students really appreciated that and recognised that it was something actually quite special. All the way through the workshops, we had a map of the Borough of Ealing up in the room. And so at different stages throughout the workshop process, we would explore stories and the relationship to place. A lot of students live in the area where the school is, obviously, in Hanwell, and had stories about Hanwell Community Centre, which was originally the poor school where Charlie Chaplin attended when he was a boy. We split the group into 3. So the Vision group, they had a tour of the building and met a local historian and really engaged with the life and some of the work of Charlie Chaplin. This was the beginnings of a guy that actually had this amazing international career, that went to Hollywood, set up his own studio and became an international icon. And 100 years later, he is still a massive icon and such an important key figure in film history. Some of those concepts really follow through. So we have a main character in the Vision sequence, which was really inspired by Chaplin's career trajectory from a very sort of disaffected, unhappy youth, and then he manages to sort of fight, entertain people, and break through and actually, create this amazing life for himself and leave such a massive legacy. The Endeavour group were lucky enough to visit Trevor Bayliss' house. Trevor Bayliss invented the wind-up radio in the mid-90s, and some people might recognise him or remember him from the Big Breakfast Show, where he was the inventor in the shed. The students were able to ask him questions, and his house is full of really interesting stuff. He's got a car that he's built himself that actually sits on the duckboard by the Thames. There are pictures of him with Nelson Mandela, which the students picked up on straight away. So Trevor has a workshop in his house, and there's all sorts of great little things that he's invented and made, like special glasses, there's several wind-up radios. When Trevor offered to bring along his E-Type Jag so that could appear in one of our films, we thought, yes, it would be great to have an E-Type Jag in the film, but also it would have a lot of relevance because we've been exploring engineering and mechanics and fit in beautifully with the idea of endeavour. The creativity group went on a mini walking tour of the borough to see some of the sites that we've been talking about. There's a blue plaque opposite Ealing Broadway where the Ealing Music Club used to be. We had a look at that, took some photographs of that, and then walked around to the Ealing Film Studios, where we were lucky enough to pay a visit to the Met Film School and see some of their film workshops in action. After that, we visited Pitshanger Manor, and then students did a half-hour drawing workshop in the art studio there, where they drew from life a portrait of somebody's head in the style of a Frank Auerbach drawing. So the idea of doing that was to try to recreate an art school environment. The Ealing Art School was a very famous and successful art school during the 60s. Frank Auerbach taught there, and students of the art school included Freddie Mercury and Pete Townsend. When we first showed the film to the students at the end of the process, their response to the film really surprised me, because a group of Year 10 students aged 14 to 15, the normal reaction would be to laugh at seeing themselves and their colleagues. But when we actually showed them, there was silence, and they were sort of glued and fixed to the screen. And I think it was just because they were surprised at seeing themselves in that way and almost didn't recognise themselves or each other. One student actually said about another student, "Oh, she looks really different." It's like, oh, there are other sides to these people in my class. I thought I knew them, but I don't actually know them, and maybe I don't know myself, or maybe I've discovered a new side to myself.